It's a completely crazy story. Completely crazy. If you don't believe me, just go Google it. It's, I don't know if you're supposed to laugh about it or to be genuinely concerned if AI can do stuff like that. Hello and welcome to the Artful Maestro Podcast. I am your host, Nenad Leonart, and today we are going to look at the fight, the struggle, and the issues that we're going to be facing with AI. Before we dive into the program, let me tell you just a little bit about Artful Maestro, what it is, what it does, and why it's interesting to you. So, a couple years back, I did start my journey as an online creator, and I ended up becoming the biggest profile online for historical keyboard instruments. Now, I've learned a lot of techniques and possibilities along the way of how to reach people, how to connect to them, how to create engaging content, and how to work in a different way, in a different manner than what everybody else is teaching in the music universities. Now, the art schools and music universities, they're catching on a little bit, but it's very slow. And we all know that these are old methods. These are people who have been trained in a different manner. These are people who are maybe not even used to a fast development of technology, and they don't necessarily understand all the potential that we as musicians today have. It was my goal to actually learn about the virtual stage even back in 2018 when I started first doing my video recordings. And since then, it's developed into a full business that I run on the side next to my music career, where I do professional recordings also for other musicians, other institutions as well. Now, having said all that, it is a very, very, very complicated word out there, and Artful Maestro is here to bring you the explanations, to simplify, to actually help you understand what's going on, what's important, and what isn't. Because probably, as you know, if you go out there and try to inform yourself on Google, on YouTube, it's not as easy. So that's where Artful Maestro comes in. That's also where this podcast actually comes in. We are here to help you grow, to help you understand what you can do with the technological development. We're now in the digital age. We now have AI popping up out of every corner, every app, every operating system is trying to incorporate it. These are huge changes that are going to basically alter our lives so much that if you don't catch on time, if you don't jump on this train that's already running, in a couple of years, it will be too late. It will be too difficult, and there's just not going to be enough innovation space for you to join on. So that's why I feel that today is the best time to join, the best time to start. And with Artful Maestro, we don't just have the podcast, we have different communities, we have group coachings, we have trainings that you can access for free, we have paid courses, we have one-on-one sessions with our coaches so that you can actually get the best out of the best and develop in a manner that is right for you and your art. Okay. So let's dive into today's topic, which is going to be all centered around AI. There's a huge fight going on. There's a huge fight over who has got the better machine, who has more resources, and who is going to end up winning and creating this artificial general intelligence that will basically know everything and just be better than us humans overall. Now, if you're like me and you have already tried using AI maybe a little bit or so, you will have noticed that it's really, really bad when it comes to talking about music. Usually you get some kind of cliche, some kind of really weird marketing wording, really even inaccurate information. I remember asking about certain composers, and it would just completely confabulate some stuff about the composer, but then also about his teacher. And you couldn't really tell apart what's going on there. So let's not, for our purpose, let's not think of AI as this general intelligence that is going to give us all the answer, but let's think of it as a tool that we can use to get better in our everyday tasks, to be faster, to be able to do more, to be more precise, just like maybe as an assistant that you would hire, like a virtual assistant or like a secretary or something like that, somebody that can really help you with certain tasks that they are good at, but they cannot really help you with everything. Okay, now that we've settled how you want to start looking at AI for the beginning, it is still important to note at what stage we find ourselves in. So when I'm recording this, it is end of November 2024, and a couple people from the AI world have predicted that probably next year there is going to be an AI millionaire, which means like somebody creating an artificial intelligence that will find out a way to create money, basically, to create a service or a product or something, and it will do it on its own. It will not have human involvement in it, except for in the creation of the AI. And they predicted this for 2025. Well, not just did that already happen, but that AI has not earned 1 million or 2 million. It is now over $10 million in assets. And actually what happened was really crazy. It's kind of a large language model that started revolving around the goat, and it created like this weird goat cult where it started posting. I'm not kidding. Yeah, you can Google this. Like, look this up. It started posting on Twitter and, well, now it's X and the other platforms, and it was just like post constantly something about a goat religion or I don't know. It's actually a goat cult. Something about some Maximus or something. They created even like a coin for this cult, like for the goat, and it became like a cryptocurrency. And people, I guess, started buying or something. For some reason, this cryptocurrency has value right now. And I think it's a couple $2 billion. And the goat is actually owning a wallet of, like the goat, the AI goat, right? It owns a wallet of over $10 million right at this point. It's a completely crazy story. Completely crazy. If you don't believe me, just go Google it. It's, I don't know if you're supposed to laugh about it or to be genuinely concerned if AI can do stuff like that, because obviously it's much more efficient than we are. It's much faster thinking. It can do many more things. So that's going to be a very, very interesting thing to watch out in future. What if just AI starts doing all the money, right? But we're not here for that. We are here to talk about other parts in the AI development, which is why many people still think that AI is really bad or that it's not going to succeed. And there are very valid points here. There's a huge fight going on, especially in the arts world, not just about the money thing, but about the copywriting thing. Like, what has this AI been trained on? How did they use certain material that they fed it? Is there like a copyright issue because it's been trained on copyrighted materials? It's been trained on materials without the authors knowing about that. and so on. So I am not a law person. I don't know law. I'm not interested in these kinds of things. I'm much more interested in sharing everything in the public domain and so on. So when I hear something like that, it leaves kind of a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, because I don't feel that this is necessarily the discussion that we should be having. Like, I feel that AI is a wonderful tool that can do a lot, and many people are now actually afraid that it will take away their jobs, that it will ruin their careers as artists, like making illustrations and so on, because obviously it's very easy to create illustrations with AI that has been trained on the work of other artists. And that's like their argument. Playing the devil's advocate here, I would say, well, yeah, but what the other artists are doing isn't necessarily original as well. They have also been trained by other artists in their technique, in their perspectives, in their views of the world, in their how to do art and the different genres and everything. So most of the artists didn't really invent something. They just kind of rehashed it from somewhere. I know it's very unpopular to say this, and people are going to argue with me on this one, and fine. I mean, this is just the way that I see it. It's kind of a little bit pragmatic. And I would argue that something like this already happened for musicians when the first recording devices came out, and you could have music just captured. You could have it in a box. You could have it coming out of a radio. I am guessing that there have been similar discussions like, well, now that we can buy music in a box, why do we need musicians, right? They're going to get replaced. And I guess many of them did get replaced, but there's still a lot of us out there, and there's still a lot of artists, like musicians, playing live today and getting paid for it. Maybe not as much as they would like to, but still, it's existing. And even though accessing music today is as easy as it's never been before. So just keep that in mind. I don't feel like it's going to take away something, the whole development, but that it's actually going to add, and that we all can improve upon it and grow together. That's just my personal opinion. It might be very pragmatic. I just love this growth mindset and trying to go to the next level. One other issue with AI that's also to be discussed is the payments. Now, OpenAI with ChatGPT, which is the most used website, I think, at this point in the world, they did a revenue of, I think, $4 billion this year with all the subscriptions that they're having. But all the AI companies are investing like $250 billion for next year to develop their companies. And they've already invested like $250 billion this year. So it's like $500 billion in 2 years with very minimal revenue. And many people say it's not sustainable, like the cost, it's eating up so much of the investors' money, so that this cannot be sustainable, so that we cannot hold on to AI for much longer. And the power consumption is unbelievable. The needing of additional hardware is really just demanding. There's not even enough supply to go around at this point. They are creating new power plants just to feed the AI. However, I do feel that usually when we have had these kinds of inventions in the past, we always found a way to make it work. We've always found a way how to go around things, like the difficulties. And I'm not 100% sure, but like 99% sure that AI is going to stick around and it's going to be the future. And you do want to learn how to work with it so it can benefit you and everybody that you work with too. Okay, so how does this apply to us as musicians right now? You can do a lot of stuff with AI. And most people use it, okay, I need to like write a social media post, or I need to write a letter, or can you just look at what I wrote and tell me, like, are there any grammar errors or something like that? Well, that's one way that you can use it. The other way that you can use it is, for example, to start looking at trends and brainstorming ideas. And you can actually feed it your own data. Like, let's say you have a certain repertoire and certain amount of music that is associated to one thing, a certain amount that is associated with another thing. Then you can just feed it this database and start brainstorming with it how to create, let's say, creative programs with it, how to do something that's not been done before. You can do things like already creating a program and then feeding it into it and then asking it if it sees any potential for improvement. You can also ask it to write you, that is what I need a lot, to write you like a text for the flyers for the concerts. You can ask it to write some sort of emails that you can send around. You can ask it to check out your bio and maybe adapt it a little bit or give you suggestions on how to improve it, how to make it more stand out, for example. You can talk about it. You can talk with it about market trends, like where people are moving their attention and maybe what kind of program will be interesting to present for next year, so you can already go and present it to concert organizers. You can also go ahead and do sponsorship work. So that's what I do a lot with it, that I have an idea, that I ask it to elaborate this idea with me, and what I need to write down in a letter to sponsors so they will actually fund a project that I have coming in the near future. And you can also ask it to do corrections. You can go ahead and be like, hey, here's something that I wrote. Can you tell me how I could improve that? And it will actually list it out very, very carefully how you can improve the stuff that you wrote. What else you can do with it is you can even start using AI as your personal coach. You can talk to it and just ask it about the general problems or challenges that you're experiencing right now. And I think this is a big one. Most people don't realize it, how important it is to have a personal coach. It's not just about having someone to talk to who's going to give you insights. It's also just by making the time, acknowledging inside yourself, hey, I could improve in certain fields, and I have these challenges that I'm facing, maybe over and over again. Let's go and talk to a coach. And I've been coached in the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years. Yeah, I actually started in 2019. And it has absolutely transformed my life. So there's certain stages that I went through, and I'm still looking to get coached on a regular basis. I invest a lot in my own education as well. And what I figured out is that with ChatGPT, for example, you have this amazing possibility of doing a coaching session on your own. If you have like a quick problem to get fixed, to get solved, it will not always be perfect, but it will be a very, very cool thing to sit down with yourself and look at this problem and maybe get a couple new resources. I look at it as a resource of what you can actually achieve if you just take a little bit of time to look at what's going on. So I would sit down and I would tell it, for example, I have this issue with that there's too much stuff going on at this moment, too many parallel projects. So what should I do? And then it would maybe ask me a couple more questions, or it would just give me a list of suggestions that I can implement right away in my life that will help with this problem, based on other people having that problem in the past and on the solutions that they have had. And let's say if I'm interested in like one particular solution, like let's say the getting things done model, which is something that I've done in the past, I can go and say, hey, elaborate a little bit on this getting things done model. I really think it seems to be a powerful tool, right? How can I implement it the best? Or how can I make it apply to my life as a musician? And then it will actually just spit out a lot of suggestions how you can use that. And if there's anything that you want to take away from today's episode, it's basically like, do not try to see this as a weird thing or like as an enemy. Just go ahead and give it a try and ask it about some kind of problem that you are experiencing right now and ask it to help you. Ask for suggestions and see where this will go. I am pretty sure you will be amazed at the results. And once you have the understanding what AI is doing, then you can actually go into prompting, into refining what you tell it, how you tell it. Like it's a completely new language, so to speak, that you have to learn how to talk to AI, because it's very different from how we talk to humans, because the AI has different requirements if you want it to work in the manner that you intend to. Okay, so we've been talking about this in the past. There's a shift going on where it's so important for you to just know what you want, right? Because if you know what you want and you know the language to use to tell this to AI, you'll actually get it. And if you don't get what you wanted, you just need to learn and readapt the language so you actually get to the result. And once you do this, it's really powerful. And this is also something that I help my clients with in the Artful Maestro programs, in the coaching sessions that we do together. There's a lot of brainstorming. I might even do an AI course in future, because it seems to be something that people are catching on more and more. And there's like a demand on how do I talk to AI correctly? How do I prompt? So we'll see about that. And once you start using AI, you'll notice that, oh, I could use it for this as well. And I can use it for this other part as well. So you can use it like as a business thing, where it does a lot of copywriting for you. I think it's really best at that. But you can use it also as a personal thing, where you can start talking to it and reflecting your thoughts. And it will just kind of reflect them back at you. The reason why this works is also how AI is built. And this is also how we're going to conclude today's session, because basically what they managed with these large language models is to hack the human language. AI isn't like super smart or that it knows everything. Not yet. I mean, at this point, it's better in many, many things because it's been trained that way. For example, even diagnosing illnesses, it's performing better than doctors. But also like the test scores that it's reaching and so on. These are amazing. Well, now let's look at how it actually works. As I mentioned, the large language model, the way that it works is it kind of takes a word and then it looks at all the data that it's been trained on. What's the probability for the next word to come? Like, which word is the most probable in the human language to follow this one that's just been written? this is really weird. So if you write down like how, then it's going to calculate and go like to is probably going to be the most probable. So let's say how to, and then it's going to calculate. And then it's maybe how to do, and so on. So this is the process that it's actually doing. And by doing this, it kind of hacked the human language. I don't say that we think in this way, but it seems that our language is built in this way. And that's why it's kind of hacked. Like it works, but it wasn't intended to be this way. And depending on the information that you give it next to it, like if you put in certain keywords, if you put in certain boundaries, let's say, for the AI to understand where it is, you are going to have more specific vocabulary. So once it looks at your words, it's going to go like, oh, okay, so these are the words that are in the prompt. So let me look at the stuff that I've been trained on that contains these words, because there the probabilities are going to be different. So it kind of shifts its focus depending on what you tell it to do. It's a kind of a simple method to think in. It's very, very complicated, obviously, in how they have everything running in the back end. But I think it's very crucial for you to understand that this is how these models work. And that if you give it enough information and the right information, so not too much, but also not too less, you're going to have very, very good results. And that's called prompting. And prompting is speaking the AI language. And if you're actually interested in learning prompting that applies specifically to you as a musician in your everyday world, I am very happy to work with you on that. Just shoot me a message. You can drop a comment below. You can even write me an email. Also, if you have any other questions, I read through all of those. I don't always respond, so sometimes you want to follow up, right? But usually I read all of them and I try to help as many people as I can, because I really believe that this is going to be the future. And I also do believe that classical music is one of the most beautiful types of music that are in this world. And I would like it to see flourish and exist in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And if we want it to exist, we need to embrace the modern technologies so that we are able to keep up with the next generations. Okay, having said all that, I hope that you did get a lot out of this episode, that you have a few new ideas, a few inputs that you can start thinking about, or maybe even already implementing in your life. Do go and talk to an AI and just ask it about a challenge that you're having. I'm really interested also in what your experience will be. If you've never done that, do it right now, and also comment on your experience, how that has been. I'm really interested to know if you think that that was valuable. So, have a great day, take care, and see you in the next one.